Hello, everyone. Good evening. Go ahead and join me for a moment, just seated comfortably on the mat. Last class, class 5. We've made it. So, the theme this evening is cozy fall, right? So, I'm sure up in New York, definitely down here in North Carolina, the temperatures dropped. It's sweater weather, y'all. Time to get those scarves out, get those blankets out. We turn the heat on a little bit, start having some fires outside. It's all those cozy fall vibes. Your favorite sweater, cozy blanket, curled up. So that's what we're going for tonight. Is just like totally chill, cozy, comfy feelings. So with that, we're gonna be in some poses a little longer, but they're gonna be like gentler, just like yummy, cozy poses, if you will. So, with that being said, let's always start with coming to eyes closed, and let's just get ourselves centered, checked in. Go ahead and begin to bring some attention to your breath. We're not trying to change anything, not trying to force anything. Just become aware of the sensation of breathing. You've been doing it all day, I promise, but you may not have been conscious of the process. So take a moment now. Maybe let your breath, your inhale, lengthen a little bit, and then match it with a slightly longer, slower exhale. Slowing our breathing down deliberately and consciously can really work wonders for calming our mental and emotional states as well. So anytime throughout the day or evening when you are getting maybe a little anxious or stressed out or just feeling a little frazzled, you can always just come to stillness, close your eyes, and just become aware of your breath, and then start to lengthen it and slow it down a little bit. And that just signals to your nervous system that it's okay. You can calm down a little bit. And from this calmer, more centered place, go ahead, think of an intention for your practice this evening, something that you've been thinking about for the week. Maybe it's just recommitting to being here this evening and showing up for yourself to get comfy and cozy and relaxed. And when you're ready and you've set your intention, go ahead and bring your eyes back open. And we will begin some gentle movement to get ourselves a little warmed up. And we'll dive into our poses. So make sure your props are handy. And let's come to our hands and knees. We're going to do some cat-cow. So get your hands planted under your shoulders. Knees are under our hips. If you are feeling a little tight in your hands from all that computer work, for instance, you can kind of rotate them outward a little bit, and that'll give you a little more space. And from here, in a neutral spine, on our inhale, we're going to drop our bellies down, let our head come up and our chest forward, heart shines forward. And as we exhale, we drop our shoulders, drop our head, curve our back up like a scaredy cat on a Halloween pumpkin. Inhale, we come forward, bellies drop, hearts shine forward. Exhale, back rounds up to the sky. Exhale. Inhale. Come forward, bellies drop. Really get that nice stretch across your shoulders. Exhale and back rounds up. Go ahead and go through this a few times at your own pace. Just remember, inhales, bellies drop, exhales, back rounds. In light of tonight's cozy theme, maybe just slow it down a little bit more. Really feel through the movement. Focus on the through, not just getting to the end pose. As you exhale, feel every vertebrae as you round your back. As you inhale, feel them all drop the other direction. Enjoy the actual movement. Go ahead and freeform a little bit, maybe do some side to side. Just get those last little kinks out. Go in some circles. Bring it the other way. Whatever feels good and right and cozy, comfy. All right, lovely friends, from here, we're going to come into melting heart. I'm going to recommend that you grab your blanket or a pillow and put it right about where your hands were before. We're going to keep on our knees. And remember, in melting heart, we're trying to keep our knees and hips stacked up while our torso comes down. So we'll walk our hands out ahead of us, bringing our, I'm going to try and do this without smushing the microphone. Bring our chest down to the floor. Just going to let someone in. Beautiful. Yes, beautiful. You got it. Yep. So again, knees stacked over hips, walking our hands out. Chest comes to cushion or floor, forehead to the floor. Your knees are feeling a little sensitive. You put the blanket under your knees instead. This one might take a little bit of adjustment, but we'll get there. Here we go. And now we find that stillness. And return to our breath. Your forearms and hands can be fully planted on the ground. Forehead rests on your mat. Don't worry, this is one of our most intense poses for tonight, and we won't be here that long. Just a few more rounds of breath. All right, beautiful friends, go ahead and inhale, walk your hands back. We're going to just reset for a moment in a nice little child's pose. So push hips back and sink forward. Hands can stay stretched out in front of you. You can bring your knees wider like I have them, or you can bring them closer together. That might just mean you don't get down maybe as far, but it can also be a really nice low back stretch. But since tonight's theme is comfy and cozy, go for whichever one just feels nicest. Okay, and go ahead and walk your hands back, come up to your knees and join me in, we'll start in just a comfortable seated position, legs crossed. And we're going to come into what's called square pose. So we're trying to make our legs be kind of like squares. So let's start with our left leg on the bottom. So go ahead and bring your left leg bent in front of you. You want your shin to be kind of parallel to the long edge of your mat. And then your your left foot was going to come over to be about in line with your right hip. And then we're going to stack our other leg on top of it in the same way. Now, you may have some gap here. Might not be super easy on the hip. So go ahead and get a block. You can get a blanket under the other knee. Tonight's about coziness, you guys. So like get comfy, let the props support you. Get your blanket under your other knee. Yeah, get in, get comfy. Feet stay flexed to protect the knees. And then from here, if you are like, girl, this is all I got, I'm staying right here, then please do that. If you have the space, go ahead and lift up, get some space between your rib cage and your hips, and walk yourself forward a little bit as far as you can comfortably. This is not a total deepest forward fold. But maybe just a little bit of extra stretch along that right and left hip. And then when you've found that edge, come to stillness. You can let your head hang and find your breath. This sort of an extension from last week's turning in and shedding, this week with cozy and comfort. We've got more sort of forward folds, more poses that have us kind of snuggling in on ourselves. If at this point you feel like you've got any extra space to give, you can fold a little more forward. This is a really not structured. We're not worried about keeping our backs straight, just folding over comfortably, letting our shoulders and heads and necks be relaxed and heavy. A few more rounds of breath on this side, my friends. Stay with your breath. Send some love to any places that are maybe getting a little annoyed that we're still here. And go ahead and inhale, walk your hands back and come back upright. And adjust your props accordingly. We're going to switch sides. So uncross. Right leg's going to come to the bottom first. Again, that shin, we're aiming for parallel with the edge of our mat. Foot flexed and right foot roughly in front of our left knee. Sorry, left hip. And then left leg comes same shape, stacked right on top. Both sides always feel different. So you may be further away or you may be a lot closer on this side. I'm going to swap my things around, get my block under the other side, my blanket under this one. Beautiful. And when you are situated, let's go ahead and get tall and then fold forward if that's where you're headed. Again, we're not going for the deepest forward fold right now, just to that place where it feels a little tight, but doable and not painful. Remember to keep those feet flexed. That's going to help protect your knees in this pose. And when you have gotten yourself situated with your props and you have found that edge, find stillness, release the fidgets, and come to your breath. I sometimes feel in yin yoga, especially as our practice involves some of these longer holds of poses, that the greatest challenge is actually not holding the physical pose that long, but keeping our minds empty of running thoughts, of not falling into our perhaps regular daily patterns of racing thoughts and to-do lists and worrying about what's next, but really to take this time and let our minds relax as much as our bodies are. And to do that, the easiest way is to just stay focused on your breath, on the sensation of the inhale, filling your lungs, and the exhale, releasing everything. You've been here a little bit, so if you feel called, you feel the space, go ahead and let yourself fold a little more forward. Let your head, shoulders, neck relax and be heavy. And then find that stillness again. A few more rounds of breath here. Go ahead on inhale. Walk yourself back. Come back up to upright seated. Head and get your props out of the way and release your legs. We're going to bring our soles of our feet together. Back up a little bit so I'm fully on my mat. And we're coming into a sort of butterfly or diamond pose. Knees are bent. If you want, again, this is a lovely place to maybe put some things under your knees because we're going to fold forward. If you don't feel the need, then that is totally okay too. Your feet can be closer in, they could be further away, or whatever feels comfortable for your body tonight. The stretch will be a little different regardless, like wherever you are. But again, tonight we're focused on comfort and cozy. So we're not trying to be like, oh my gosh, in our feet, into our bodies as close as possible or anything. So with that, go ahead and find the spacing that feels comfortable for tonight. Inhale, lift up, get that space between your ribs and your hips and fold forward as far as feels comfortable until you can just relax, let your head hang heavy. You can bring a block or anything under your head if you want so that the weight is not on your neck. Let your neck relax. Or you can just let your head be heavy. And when you found the right place for tonight, just like Goldilocks, this one's just right. Go ahead and find that stillness and return to your breath. If you're like me and the monkey mind is strong and it's hard to stop your brain from jumping all over the place, and maybe sometimes the hold is long or the day's been crazy, and even just being with your breath is still not quite giving you an anchor, you can always add a visual element, imagining perhaps with tonight's theme of cozy fall, a crackling fire, cup of warm tea, and just focus on what that visualization might look like. Or perhaps you think instead of the sensation of being snuggled up on the couch in your favorite blanket with loved ones or fur friends, a good book, maybe a good movie, and really think about, feel yourself in that place. These are all ways that we can find mindfulness and stillness, even though they're not necessarily classical meditation techniques. We've been here a little bit, so if you're feeling a little more space, feel free and lean into it. And then find that stillness again. Come back to your breath, back to your visualization, your sensationalization. Maybe I made that word up, I don't know. We'll be here just a few more rounds of breath. On your next inhale, go ahead and walk yourself back up. We're gonna keep our legs and feet where they are, and we're gonna come into a little bit of a revolved butterfly on each side. So from here, we're gonna take our left elbow and plant it into the crook of our left knee. You can already feel that little bit of a side bend and twist. We're gonna bring our right arms up to the sky and then maybe over just a little bit, really encouraging that side bend. And then from here, if you have the space, maybe just tweak into a little bit more of a twist, opening your chest and arm up to the sky. Head, if your neck will tolerate it, is looking up at the sky just inside your right arm. Make sure that left shoulder is dropped down and not creeping up towards your left ear. And really enjoy the sensation of that breath, helping to open up that space along your right side body, under your arm, all down the side of your rib cage, and especially in that space right around where your hip socket is. The irony of hip flexor work, of hip stretches, is they don't always feel that great when you're doing them. But once you have the release, that sensation of relaxation afterward is just so lovely. And go ahead and inhale your arm back up and allow that movement to bring your torso back up. And now we're going to do the other side. So we're going to bring our right elbow into the crook of our right knee. Left arm comes up towards the sky and then over slightly. From here, if you have the space, let's rotate just a little bit, opening our arm and chest up to the sky. Drop that right shoulder down away from your ear. Head is tilted up towards the sky. If your neck won't, then just keep it kind of neutrally looking softly forward. But if you can, bring it up, looking to the inside of your left arm. And then come to that breath and really enjoy how it feels. Let that space between your ribs open up. Between your ribs and your hip. Make sure that right shoulder isn't creeping up. Just a few more breaths. And go ahead, inhale, your hand comes back up and the movement brings your body with it. Both hands down, resting on your knees. We're going to come to another child's pose. Yes, I know, 2 child's poses, but we're doing comfy cozy. So this time I encourage you, we're going to be in this child's pose for a little bit longer. So I encourage you to go ahead and maybe get your blanket or cushions sort of between your knees, so that your torso is going to lay down along that. Just have a little bit of extra cushioning. So we're on our knees here. We can come into a wider knee pose so that knees are more along the edges of our mat or closer in. Again, wherever you feel comfortable here, we're going for the coziest, comfiest, and we're going to just fold forward and bring our foreheads down to our cushions, the floor, whatever we've got there. Find that stillness and come to your breath. Your hands can be out in front of you if you want. If it feels comfy, you can bring them back to your sides. I prefer to have mine out in front, but whatever feels most relaxing and luxurious to you. benefit to using some props like your blanket or some cushions under you here is that just kind of brings the floor to you and allows you to access the pose in a deeper way, but with some more total relaxation. Your body isn't having to also hold itself in order to find the pose. The prop can provide some of that extra support. So when we're going for total luxurious relaxation, the more props and cushions we use, the more we can let them do the work for us and let our muscles really find that relaxed stillness. All right, friends, hopefully you didn't fall all the way asleep. Go ahead and walk yourself slowly back up. Move your prop out of the way, and we're going to come to resting belly pose. So come to your belly, legs out behind you. Feet are relaxed. You can kind of let them flop to the side and wherever you naturally would find yourself. We're, we're here more for the sensation of being on our stomachs on the floor. So bring your hands in front of you on the mat, stack one on top of the other, it doesn't matter which one. And then bring your forehead down to your hands. This is just an ever so slightly tiny back bend. But there's just something that's kind of innately comforting about the sensation of the pressure, knowing that our internal organs are so solidly supported. The way that the pressure on your front side forces the breath to open your back a little more. Make sure your shoulders are relaxed. In fact, pretty much everything should be pretty relaxed right now. If anyone asks, yes, this is real yoga.
Go ahead and switch hands, whichever one was on the top before, put it on the bottom. Return to that stillness. Return to being so aware of the sensation of breath in your body. Relax your low back. Relax your legs. Nothing's got to be working that hard right now. And when you're ready, go ahead, lift your head up. And we're actually going to come over, roll over onto our backs now. Yes. Okay, from here, with your feet on the ground and your knees bent, we're going to come into the reclined and far more comfortable version of our favorite swan pose or pigeon pose. So bring your right leg to cross over your left knee. Your right ankle is going to be sort of resting on your knee, left knee, foot flexed, and it's sometimes known as figure four. So you should kind of imagine that your legs would look like a four, a number four. Perfect. You got it. All right. From here, we're going to bring that left knee in and grab our hands around that leg, pulling that in. Perhaps your right elbow is putting a little bit of pressure on that right leg, forcing your knee out a little further, keeping that sort of good stretch like we get in upward pigeon pose. And find that stillness and find your breath. Remember to keep your right foot flexed. That's just going to help protect that bent knee. And while we are relaxed, we do want to make sure we keep a little bit of pressure in that right knee, pushing it away from our bodies at the same time that we're gently pulling that left leg in towards ourselves. And that just helps to open that right hip up. And I promise, even if it doesn't feel good now, you're going to love how it feels later. Stay with your breath. Send that breath and love to any place that's maybe feeling a little sticky. Staying with your breath will help you stay in the pose. Just a few more rounds of breath. And when you're ready, go ahead and release your hands. Let your feet come back down to the mat, knees stay bent. Or just a quick windshield wiper either side, just to release that before we go into the other side. And then come back to stillness, plant that right foot, and bring your left leg to cross over your right leg. Left ankle comes to right knee, figure four, and keep our hips both down on the ground. And then we bring everything in towards us so that we can wrap our hands around our right leg. Maybe our knee, maybe our left elbow finds our left knee and pushes it out a little more, creates a little more resistance. Remember, our left foot is flexed. Relax your shoulders. There are definitely some parts of our body here that are feeling some tension, but as much as possible, everything else should be allowed to relax. So your hands are engaged, your legs are engaged in holding the shape, but torso, your shoulders, your neck, your head, your right toes, all of these are parts of our body that they don't need to be stressed out right now. They can relax. Find your breath, stay with it. Just a few more rounds of breath here. Go ahead and release your hands. Your feet come back down to the mat. Knees stay bent. Give it a little mini windshield wiper action. Just help release the back from that stretch. And now we're going to come into reclining teepee. So feet come to the outside edge of our mat. You might need to move your feet in a little closer to your bum, and then let your knees fall in towards the middle to each other. Let your torso relax. Hands can come down by your sides. They can rest on your belly. Just going to be here for a little minute to give a little bit of a counter stretch to some of those hip openers from earlier. Get a little light stretch into that IT band along the outside of our legs here. All right, go ahead and release the knees. And we'll do just another quick little windshield wiper. Okay, from here, find your stillness and grab your cushioning, one of your props. You can either do your block or your blanket, and we're going to bring that under our hips for a supported bridge pose. So go ahead and lift your hips up and get that cushioning right under your hips and then drop back down. Let your hips be really nice and heavy into whatever cushioning or prop you've got. And if you've got more cushions, you could certainly come into like a higher, I just don't have the cushioning for it right now, but you can come into a higher bridge. But wherever you are, the point is to make sure it's supported so that you are not doing all the work. We let that prop do it for us. Make sure your feet are nice and firmly planted on the floor. Your knees are bent. Go ahead and relax your shoulders down. Maybe scooch them down even a little bit. Hands are at our sides, resting on the floor. Find that stillness. Engage your core. Come to your breath. When you're ready, go ahead and inhale. Lift your hips up. Get that prop out from under you off to the side. Let your hips come back down heavy to the mat. Then let's just bring your knees in. Give them a little hug. Really notice how the breath feels. Go ahead and release your feet back down to the mat. And I'm going to show you a little bonus pose that we're not going to do tonight because that involves too much moving around our rooms. But I want to show you the pose is called legs up a wall. And it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. But it's one of the most relaxing poses. It's really great for right before you go to bed. So you're going to find yourself a wall and kind of sit next to it and come down to your back and sweep your legs up so that they are resting on the wall. You can let your feet relax. And you're going to just lay here with your legs up in the air, supported by the wall, anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes. And what's happening here is the blood is finally getting gravity's support and it's actually getting to flow back out of your legs and circulate back up more easily. And this just is another thing that kind of signals your body like, oh, okay, we can relax a little bit more now. So this is just a really lovely pose for the end of the night. That's a little bonus yoga pose for you this evening. But from here now, my friends, we have come to our final resting pose. So go ahead and join me laying on our backs. Get ourselves situated. Legs straight out, relaxed. They fall open to the sides. Get your shoulders tucked under you. Arms are out maybe a few inches away from the edges of our body, off the edge of our mat. Palms face up. And from here, if you have not yet, bring your eyes closed and come back to your breath. As at the beginning of class, we're not making any efforts to change our breath, just become aware of it again and again. And maybe we feel breath feels differently in our bodies after our practice this evening. Maybe there's just some more ease, some more spaciousness. Bring your awareness to the top of your head, the top of your skull. Let it relax like melting candle wax. Let the tension just flow off of you. Bring your awareness to the point between your eyebrows. Let that relax. Release any tension. Bring your awareness to your jaw and your tongue. Let them relax. Bring your awareness to your neck, your throat, your collarbones, your shoulders. And like melted wax, let them sink in to the ground. Release any tension. Bring your awareness down your arms, into your hands and your fingers. And feel those relax. Spirit awareness comes to your chest, your lungs, your stomach, your internal organs. And feel them soften, get heavy, and sink into the mat, relaxed. Bring your attention to your hips, your entire pelvic girdle, tops of your legs. Let it get heavy. Let any tension just melt away. Bring your awareness to your knees and feel them relax. Finally, bring your attention to your calves, your ankles, tops of your feet, your toes. Let them be heavy and sink into the floor, melting any tension away. Come to your breath. and just be. Bring your awareness back to your body, to the room you're in. Find a little bit of movement, wiggle your fingers and toes. And when you're ready, roll to whichever side feels right. And come and join me in an easy seated position. Bring your eyes back closed once you've gotten there. Hands resting on your knees. And just take one final moment. Smile inside to your body, to all your organs, to your lungs. Keeping it going. Thank yourself for showing up tonight. I thank you for showing up tonight and for all of the weeks that we've been together. It's been a real pleasure. As a little bonus for some super cozy fall vibes, when I send out this week's class replay, I will also share a short audio recording for a yoga nidra. And so yoga nidra is sort of like a slightly longer version of what we just did in our Shavasana. It's a sort of guided meditation through really feeling into the body and feeling a total relaxation. And it often sends you right off to sleep. So I didn't want to do it tonight since we all still have evenings ahead of us, but I'll be sharing that recording with you a little later this week. And you can do that whenever you want. Just pop your headphones in and get cozy, listen to the Nidra, and feel free to just drift right off to sleep. Stay tuned. We are talking about some classes for in winter and hopefully spring as well. Spread the word, tell your friends, and we'll be able to keep doing this on and on. Thank you all so much. It's been such a pleasure. Namaste.
Thank you.